A new report by Jobberman, a Nigeria-based job portal and career platforms, revealed that over 65% of youth are unemployed in Africa's biggest economy. With the rising cost of living crisis and high cost of borrowing impacting businesses, how will youth survive? That is the question right now. Joining me is Arelua Boboye, CEO of Jobberman Nigeria. Joining me right here in the studio. Great to have you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Quite an interesting report there, and the question is, how will Nigerian youth survive without a job? Or is it that we have more of entrepreneurs, hustlers at this time? Is that what this is telling us?
Oh yeah. So thank you so much for having me. I think for us, because we sit at the heart of linking job seekers to job, right? For a long time, we were really bogged down on ensuring employability. But this time, we decided to actually take a look at what people do, right? People without job, what have they been doing, right, for the longest? And it became very vivid to us, right? The extent and the length at which young Nigerians go, right, to ensure that they earn, a daily wage. So it's interesting to note that about 75% or 78% rather of unemployed youth depend on family and friends to survive. So it means that one job that you've got, it's not just for you. You are also funding like 2 or 3 unemployed person, right? And then about 56%, right, of unemployed youth acknowledge that also is their means of livelihood. Now, and that is a very interesting thing that came up, because also in Nigeria can range from being an Okada rider to being a fashion designer, to being an Instagram.
So basically, the hustles are
undefined.
They're plenty.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a sea of unstructured work, right, in Nigeria. Then the final one, which for me was even the most shocking, is the fact that there seems to be an epidemic, we call it an epidemic of betting in Nigeria, right? We see that a lot of people actually go into betting, and it's been ascribed wrongly to addiction. But what we found out was that a lot of people actually depend on betting as a means of livelihood.
Right, even though they're making a lot of losses.
Yes. So for them, it's the way they are chances, and they're like, look, this 2,000 naira, if I put it in here, and I, pull in some odds, right, and I get 20,000 naira, which is a lot more than nothing, right? So they keep, pitching that periodically and hoping that one day it will be their turn.
And obviously, one game is always going to cut that supposed ticket at some point.
Yeah.
But, looking at all of this now, definitely incomes are squeezed at this time. And you did mention that, most of these youths depend on family and friends. Mm-hmm. But incomes are squeezed right now. Can the family and friends still provide that help at this time?
Yeah, so that is where the huge and the big concern is, and why it is important that as a nation, there's a need for Nigeria as a nation to start to push in social interventions, right? So we're waiting for government, right, to really help on this side, because it's beyond just demand and supply, right? It's beyond your own personal economy. Right? There is now a need for there to be some form of succor, right, to be able to even survive as someone that is working, right, compared to someone that does not even have a job. And of course, maybe the second side to it would now be for us to take a look at what we call hustle. For the longest time, when people do hustle, air quote hustle, we consider it to be temporary. We never really put structures into it. Right? But what we have done over time is that we've actually lost real value on what we call hustle, right? This is a good time for us to actually start to put more value into those things we call hustle. So if you are going to be a fashion entrepreneur, then be a full-time fashion entrepreneur. Put all of yourself into it, right? Deliver value, because obviously money will always follow value. Irrespective of whatever is going on in the economy, money will always follow value.
Right, and also we have a lot of jack of all trades, at the same time. But definitely a time where businesses are squeezed also at this time. We've seen cost of borrowing, go up because of rate hikes. Globally, everyone's trying to tame inflation, at this time. But some companies definitely will be looking at cutting jobs.
Absolutely.
That's that may happen. But how do you set yourself, apart as a job seeker at this point? How do you, enhance employability?
Okay, so of course, for employability to happen or for employment to happen, right, there needs to be demand and then supply. So as much as yes, would ascribe that employers are cutting, are cutting costs and then cutting staff and all that, we also need to understand that people are leaving the country. Talents are leaving the country. Those people leaving the country, or those that have left a vacuum, right? Some people will have to fill that vacuum. So what is important is that as a middle level or an entry-level Nigerian worker that is still planning to be in Nigeria for this long, right, you should then upskill aggressively, okay? Because this is now an opportunity, a unique opportunity, right, that, for you to then upgrade very fast and very quickly to fill the shoes of the people that are leaving, okay? Because the need will always be there, right? On the flip side of it, however, right, is now also for companies, because you have to empathize with companies, right? They are the ones feeling the direct impact of the economic situation right now. They have to make the adjustment, right? So for employers, it's important for employers to take stock of their capacity. And right now, I have a personal formula for capacity, and that is a function of your resources versus your priorities versus your processes. Companies need to look at those three variables critically, right? And, do a match and say, look, what process am I improving, right, to make way for more resources? What priorities do I need to, what things do I need to deprioritize and put more focus on, right? You will see that a lot more companies will actually put more focus on revenue, real revenue generating channels, all right? And like I said before, when there is value, there is always money.
All right, still on the report now, tell us about regions that you covered, like the Northeast, Northwest. How did, those regions fare with unemployment?
So we of course, we took an holistic approach. We looked at all the 6 geopolitical zones. So like, for instance, the betting situation actually happens to be very popular in Southwest.
Southwest.
Yeah, so Southwestern Nigeria actually exhibited the real impact of people depending on betting as a means of livelihood. We realized that in the Northeast, for instance, there are a lot more youth, right, that have been out of jobs for a longer period of time. For some of them, the average about 4 to 5 years. So imagine post-tertiary education, you are now then out of employment, right, for 5 years. And what we found out is that it's a lot more difficult to even integrate those set of people into the workforce compared to someone that has just recently graduated. And this is something that we are bringing to the fore, right, for policymakers, right, that as much as we are rolling out interventions to impact the life of new graduates out of school, there is a lot of focus on that, which is amazing and great. Let us not forget these people that have been out of job for 5 years, for 6 years, right? That will take extra work to get them in. And we also saw, of course, a direct correlation between being out of job for a long time and crime and insecurity. Okay, and that also, of course, can be seen in the security landscape in Nigeria. Right. Yeah.
All right, talk to me about definitely tech is playing a huge role, at this time in the job market. How is it looking? We have platforms where job seekers and businesses meet. How's that industry looking?
It's amazing. So Jobberman will be 14 years next month. We've been doing this for 14 years, right? Meaning that, of course, we have a lot of expertise as regards visibility between the employers and the job seekers. At the moment, what we have done as Jobberman, so I can speak to Jobberman as a platform, what we have done is, first of all, to reduce significantly the barrier to actually make this job visible to candidates. So as much as possible, if any employer out there, if you go on our platform, you can actually post your job for free on our platform, just to ensure that you get that need out there. Because as much as we say that companies are making budgetary adjustments and all that, they still need people. They still need to hire, right? And these candidates, these potential candidates, need to know. So the
businesses don't have to pay to hire?
At the entry level, of course. But
there are times where you will pay.
Definitely, there are times where you pay, because there are special work that you may need. For instance, if you want us to do like some ancillary deliveries for you, or some concierge service for you, of course. But in terms of visibility of jobs itself, you receiving applications, right? You can go to a platform on Jobberman, right, and then post the job. And on the candidate side, we are also really big on capacity development for candidates. So for the past 3 years, we've been running this soft skills training for candidates for free, right? Just ensuring that aside from your proficiency, you are then employable because you have proficiency in all these other soft skills. Also.
All right. In 2 seconds, you know, I know right now, you know, remote jobs are a thing. You know, right now, you know, we've seen Nigerians getting jobs abroad, you know, and still living in Nigeria. How's that looking? How are you seeing that space, you know, going forward?
It's developing nicely. I think that on the demand side, which is, you know, foreign companies, they've seen a lot of value and they respect the Nigerian ecosystem. They do, and it's amazing, you know, the many things that, you know, has been achieved over time. I believe that there is still more to gain and there's still more to explore, and I know that the opportunities are there, right? And what I see is that it will actually continue to grow. Yes.
Definitely. Thank you. It was great having your perspective today. Oreoluwa Boboye, CEO of Jobberman Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.